Okay, so we're going to be doing this exercise, which will be converting from Celsius to Fahrenheit and from Fahrenheit to Celsius. So I'm just including the formula so we know what to do. Now I'd like to go to NetBeans and create a new project. Every time you always create a new project, so I'm going to name that week 3 exercise 5, and let's finish. Now the first thing I'm going to do is to declare scanner, because every time you see that I'm going to read something, that means the scanner needs to be used. When I say write a Java program that reads something, that means a scanner needs to be used. Now notice something, I did not put this import because I used the help of NetBeans, but actually, you know what, you should not always rely on that just to be able to memorize this import. So the import has to be before the class and after the package, so between the package and the class. You remember at the beginning I was telling you, just don't put any code outside of this place. Now slowly as we advance, we're going to be starting to put some codes a little bit everywhere, but for now let's just get not too much adventurous. The only thing we're going to be doing is putting some code here outside of the class and inside the package. This is the part where I'm going just to put the import, and the import is from where? What should I type next? Java dot, and as soon as I type the dot, that means it's helping me, giving me what are the other packages or the folders that are inside this Java, and this is the one I would like to have, util. And then you see inside this util there's the scanner, but there's a lot more than just the scanner, a lot of different things, and also I can have other folders, like other packages inside that same util. So there's a lot of different classes that we can use that are available, but we're just going to be using the ones that we'd like to be using now is scanner and the semicolon. Now as soon as I do this, I'll be able to declare a variable. Now this is just a variable name, it can be anything. Just to change, I'm going to put input, so just to have a different name. Now I'll put a name that is meaningful, so it will help me in my coding. When I'm typing, I will know exactly what this variable is used for. So this is my variable that I'm going to use for the input, and its data type is scanner. Now this variable isn't going to work unless I initialize it in a special way. I need to put something like, what should I type? New, and then exactly the same thing that I typed here, the data type, I need to type it again, and then in between parentheses I need to put system.in. Now this is the variable that will allow me to read something from the user using the keyboard. Now I need two other variables, one for the Celsius, the other one for the Fahrenheit. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make them double. Why double? Because I need to divide by 5, and having just an int divided by int, the result is going to be int. I don't want to have that, and I would like to make it double, because double is going to allow me to have these fractions, or to have the real number. Now if I put an int, I'm going to call it Celsius, and int Fahrenheit. You see, it doesn't matter that I put a very long name, because later on I'm going to just use control space to be able to complete that. I'm going to show that to you. So now I'm going to put them as int just to show the problem, and then we'll later on fix it, inshallah. Now I declared two variables, Celsius and Fahrenheit. Now I just need to ask the user to give me, please enter the temperature in what? The first one, let's just read in Celsius, and then we convert it to Fahrenheit. So let's read in Celsius, and then let's not go back to the line. I remove this ln, so if the user types something, it's going to be on the same line. Did you notice that? Yes. From last time, right? Now the Celsius is going to be equal to, help me complete, What should I type now? Sorry? C? What is C? The formula. But Celsius, this C is what's inside this variable, Celsius. But let you put something inside this variable first. Sorry? Input? Because am I going to put myself the value, or is it going to be the user who is going to be putting the value? So the user needs to put the value, so that means this number is not coming from me, the programmer, but from the user, so I need to use the variable input to be able to get something from the user. Now if I use input, what should I have next? Next line? Next line is going to give me a string. I cannot put a string inside of an int. Can I use a double? I can use double, right? No, I can't. Because this is going to give you a double. Can I put a double inside of a variable that is int? No, I can't. I will make it all double later on, but first of all, I just would like to make it int as simple. And then see if it's going to work, but it's not going to work because there's a problem of conversion, a problem of int by int, division of int by an int. But let's just keep this as just to see the difference. Now this is the temperature in C, as you mentioned, so it's the user who gives it to me. Now the other one, the Fahrenheit, notice that I'm not going to be typing all the words, just first three letters, control space is your friend. Because NetBeans is going to complete whatever you started. If it's enough to finish because there are no other options, it will finish it, like what happened just before this. Now if there are many other options, it's just going to give you what are the options. So this is the variable that is an int, and this is the one I want. Well, there's other things, for now we don't need them, so just you can do that. So just don't be afraid to give a very long name that is very understandable in a variable, because you just don't have to type it all the time. You just type part of it, and it means it's going to complete it for you. For example, like this, there's no other thing that is going to be other than Fahrenheit, my variable, and that's it. Now the formula is this one. If you give me a Fahrenheit, the Fahrenheit is going to be the Celsius multiplied by 9 divided by 5, that I add 32 to it. So let's do that. So this is Celsius, control space again, multiplied by 9 divided by 5 minus, no, it's plus 32, right? So this is going to give me the Fahrenheit, and this Fahrenheit I'm going to save it into this variable. Now notice what is going to happen here. This is an int that I multiply by the int that I divide by 5. Now when these three are all together, which operation am I starting with? Am I going to do Celsius multiplied by 9 or 9 divided by 5? Which one is going to be done first? Celsius multiplied by 9 or 9 divided by 5?
Inside the bracket.
But this is all inside the parentheses, not brackets. These are the brackets. These are the parentheses. I'm starting from the left to the right, because multiplication and division are at the same level of priority. So when they are at the same level, I start always from the left to the right. So even if it was like this, I'm going to start from the left to the right. I'm not going to start with the multiplication. This is a very common mistake that many things, that I'm going to start with the multiplication. In this case, it doesn't matter, but I just would like to show you that it will matter in terms of when we work with different data types. So we always start from the left to the right, which means I'm going to do this and then do this. Now the problem is that this is an int multiplied by an int. The result is going to be an int. An int divided by an int, that's an int. And that's not what I want. I want when I divide to have a real number. So I will make this double. Okay. Now I need to read a double. When I read a double now, this is a double multiplied by an int. The result is going to be double. And a double divided by an int is double, so it will make this be an accurate formula to convert from a Celsius to Fahrenheit. And then I'm going to say the temperature in Fahrenheit, let's make it capital F, is, and then I'm going to not put a line. I can put a line. I'll put a plus and then Fahrenheit. Is that okay? So we declared the variables here, and then we asked the user to give us something, and then we got it from the user. Then we did some processing, we converted from Celsius to Fahrenheit, and then we displayed the result. So these are the steps that we took. We can use the comments to explain them. Read the temperature from the user, and here we do the convert to Fahrenheit, and then display the results. There's only one result. Now let me run this thing. It's asking me what's the temperature, 10, or let's do something more. Let's put 0 so we can see if it's working correctly. So 0 gives me 32 Fahrenheit because this is 0, 0, 0, 32 Fahrenheit. Now if I try to with something like 10 or maybe 5, multiplied by 9 divided by 5, which means like just 5 multiplied by it's just going to be 9 plus 32, that's 41. Now what if I'd like to do the opposite? After this, convert from Fahrenheit to Celsius. I just need to do exactly the same thing, but this time I will just convert, please, and give me temperature in Fahrenheit, and I'm going to put this into Fahrenheit. And I need to convert this now. It's going to be a different formula because the formula is the Fahrenheit minus 32. So I need to do this Fahrenheit minus 32, and then this whole thing is going to be multiplied by 5 divided by 9. Now the same thing again. See, this is an int. No, this is a double multiplied by an int, which becomes a double, divided by an int, it will be a double. But if this Fahrenheit was an int, I'm going to be having a wrong formula. Now once I have this, I just need to display the temperature in Celsius is, and so on. Now just to separate between these, just so you can see. Now this is the first part. The second part, notice one thing, I'm not declaring more variables, I'm using the same ones because I finished with these variables. I put the values and then I'm done. I need now to take more values. I'm going to again use the same variables, but this time to read from the user and then put it in Fahrenheit instead of Celsius. Now if I run this thing again, please enter the temperature, let's put 50. It's going to give us 122. Now please enter the temperature in Fahrenheit, 122. It's going to give me 50, so I know it's working. And this is the end of this exercise. Is everything okay? I didn't get your question. The steps? I'm giving you everything, even the photo. You can this is recorded in a video, so you can have the video. You stop it whenever you want. Take a lot of pictures if you want. But here you go. This is all the code in one shot. So the main thing is that you notice that this is going to be all the time the same thing. We're going to be doing it exactly the same thing, just the variables, the number of them will change. Maybe what you read will change. What we do with the processing will change, but this is always going to be the same thing. We declare some variables, we read some inputs, we do some calculations, and then we display some results. That will be the cycle all the time. Read something, do some processing, display. Read, process, display. Yes. So that's it. Now this exercise is exactly the same as the next one. So I don't think I have to record something about it, but I'd like to record a video about this one. Okay? So we can do together because there's no more time left. Let me stop this and go for the next exercise.